It's very obvious society is about to collapse. And if you knew what signs to look
Is
for,
it?
you'd see it too. Guys, there's more people alive than there's ever been, all right? Which means we
Okay.
have more beautiful women alive right now than have ever existed, and they're working. We have more pretty girls working right now than at any point in human history. Does that sound right to you?
Up next, it's time for Brad versus TikTok, my segment where I react to the craziest ideas floating around the clock app. Buckle up and get ready to lose some brain cells with me, but first, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button as we go along. Now, this socialist TikTok is at least meant in part as a joke, so don't take it too seriously, but I found it interesting because in its unhinged anti-capitalist ranting, it ended up being pretty sexist and misogynistic and patronizing. Let's take a look.
It's very obvious society is about to collapse. And if you knew what signs to
Is
look
it?
for, you'd see it too. Guys, there's more people alive than there's ever been, all right? Which means
Okay.
we have more beautiful women alive right now than have ever existed, and they're working. We have more pretty girls working right now than at any point in human history. Does that sound right to you? Does that sound like a society that is functioning? Beautiful women performing labor for capitalists? Does that sound correct, or does that sound more like crime? When I show up somewhere and I see a beautiful girl working, it feels like a crime is being committed. Why have you captured this pretty bird? And why are you forcing her to stand here for 5 hours, 6 hours a day saying, "Hi, welcome to Gold's Gym. How can I help you?" That's insane.
Did he just refer to women as pretty little birds? I, for one, don't find it at all insane that pretty women, like anybody else, would need to work and contribute to society and pave their own way in life. What I do find kind of crazy is that a woke person would actually be reducing women to the value of their appearance like this and not getting canceled for it the way that anybody right wing who talk like this surely would. I understand that it's at least partly meant tongue-in-cheek, but that excuse wouldn't protect somebody with a different worldview from being facing widespread backlash if they talked about women like this. But when a socialist does it, I guess that's fine.
That's insane. Beautiful women working? Go back any time in history. Find the prettiest girl you can. Ask her what she does for work. She'll be confused. Why do pretty girls work? Why would a pretty girl ever work? She's pretty. But now we live in a time where we have beautiful women who are broke.
What is he even talking about? If you'd gone back in time to and found the most beautiful girl, depending when you went back in time to, you might have found the most beautiful girl and she would have been forced into slavery working on a plantation. Or in the 20th century, she might have been working in a mill somewhere. But the fact that some women have to work 5 hours at a minimum wage job or something, that's supposed to be outrageous to us?
Beautiful, broke women working two jobs. You go to Dunkin' Donuts, fuck, it's the same girl from
Hard.
Gold's Gym. Now she works at Dunkin' Donuts. Hey, why are you working at Dunkin' Donuts? Oh, you have no money? How the do pretty girls have no money? That makes no sense. And I know some people are like, well, you don't think what women should be allowed to work? They shouldn't be allowed to. Women should be allowed to work, but they should be given the option, if they're pretty, to do a different type of job.
Y'all, it's crazy to me. I know it's not meant 100% seriously, but to see a man say that women should have different opportunities in life based on their looks, and yet this content is getting likes and tons of views and not backlash, like the woke cognitive dissonance is unreal.
Pretty girls should be allowed to join the military in their own branch, the Barbie Force, and they should be allowed to go around the United States
Okay, now he's just
buying
trolling.
stuff. We should pay beautiful women to shop. Unironically, we have the Army Corps of Engineers, and they go around to make sure infrastructure is good. We need economic infrastructure. The way you achieve this is you employ beautiful women to go from town to town, and you give them government money to buy shit with, and then you make them buy local things. They have to buy from like locally made products, and you send them as a troop, right? So now you've created a society where from town to town, you have a carnival going with the most beautiful people, and they go to your main street and they buy a bunch of shit with government money, and they put the tax dollars back into the community. And then after every 6 months, they donate everything to low income families. Now you've created a situation where beautiful women get to serve their country do what they're best at, shopping and hanging out, and we can throw them a parade whenever they show up in town.
Okay, so now, even though he's obviously trolling, he accidentally just reminded us why progressive economics are so idiotic. Government money is going to be spent and stimulate the economy in all these places. You mean taxpayer money, babe. And it has to come from somewhere else, either directly through taxes, where they just take it out of our pockets and spend it somewhere else, in which case you're not stimulating the economy, right? Because that would have been spent somewhere else, but now it's being just spent somewhere else. There's no stimulation going on. Or they take it from us indirectly through more debt or through printing money and causing inflation, which it's a little less direct, but the same thing still holds true. The government doesn't have a magical horn it can just use to make resources appear out of thin air. All it can do is move resources around in the economy and redistribute things. And instead of being invested where they're most in demand through a market, that money and resources gets allocated through politics and inefficient government bureaucracy. But we're supposed to believe that stimulates the economy. Y'all see the incoherence yet?
We can literally parade them around, and yet we what? We think they should work 2-3 jobs instead? That's stupid now. How would we even find out who's qualified to be a pretty girl traveling the country? Easy. We hold elections every year. If you're the prom queen of your high school, you get to apply when you graduate. And if you're in the court, you also get to apply. That's fair. That's democracy. And now, also, if anyone's ever played World of Warcraft, you know you don't do a raid with 40 DPS. You need some tanks. You need some healers. All right. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to need a few gays.
Oh.
We're going to need some drag queens for flavor. We're going to need some people who majored in fashion, because this is about culture. This is about making the culture better. So you take all of these Barbies, you throw in a few Kens, and then you give them some support classes, some tanks, some healers, some clerics, right? And then you send them from town to town, and you stabilize this economy. You fund small businesses, and you get these beautiful women out of the mines.
Yeah, because there are so many women working in mines in America. This is the kind of shit I'm gonna miss if TikTok gets banned. Just the sheer delusion, the sense of humor sort of tied into half serious but incredibly insane notions about politics and economics. The comment section on this was wild. Free my sisters and I from these shackles. Cries in beautiful broke working woman. I'm here for Barbie Force. Sign me up. Let him cook. I'm literally just a girl. Give this man a podcast. No, literally, we weren't built for this. I'm putting your name on the ballot. I can't tell if this is satire or not anymore. There's some truth to every joke. Y'all, I can't handle it. I can't take any more of this TikTok stuff. I'm incurring brain damage at this point. All for your entertainment and viewing pleasure. I hope you're happy. Guys, let me know what you thought of that one in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button and maybe even consider subscribing.